Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Lu. I saw an article that just came out on Asia One that says that Singapore now is the richest country in the world on a per capita basis. That means on a per person basis. And the number is an astronomical 150,000 US dollars per year. And I thought that was something to celebrate. But many people wrote to me and said, but Mr. Lu, my salary very far away from this number. How can it be? Well, today I will attempt to explain to you why Singapore has achieved such amazing success, and all of us are very far away from the number. Let's watch on, shall we? Well, Singapore indeed has become the richest country in the world. That's an incredible achievement that Singapore has reached. And in fact, the per capita income, we're talking about GDP per capita income, also defined as the income of the country divided by the total resident population, has hit a high of US $156,000. That's a remarkable achievement. But the truth is, most of us don't hit that number. So how can it be, right? So what's wrong with this per capita income versus what we are getting in our pockets? Well, to start off, let's all celebrate that Singapore indeed has become the richest country in the world. It's a big milestone that we should all celebrate. And before we talk about why are we so far away, or we just at least recognize that Singapore has really achieved this milestone. And everywhere I go globally, and I do travel a lot, everyone is so envious of us. That Singapore, you are so amazing. Your country has done so much. Your country is so beautiful. Your people are so rich. I now when I travel to Europe, UK, or whatsoever, all the Ang Mohs are so envious of us, right? So I think we ought to pat ourselves on the shoulder that our country as a whole has done well. And this number, which is 156,000 US dollar, which is GDP per capita, really it basically means that the total income of the country divided by resident population is 156,000. It's backed by IMF projection, International Monetary Fund, reported by Aviation and Asia One. So the problem is when this article came out, a lot of people like wondering, why my salary very far away? In fact, I'm struggling every month, what's wrong with this and things like that. Today, I'll attempt to explain this. This is all economics, and I think it's important for us to understand this. So the number that put us on top right now of $156,000 is ranked ahead of all the countries. Luxembourg used to be on top for many, many years, so was Macau. Singapore has now overtaken it. In fact, this is the list that just came out. So Singapore ranked on top, Luxembourg second, Macau third. Ireland, which was devastated during the Europe debt crisis, came out right now on fourth. That's pretty amazing. Qatar, okay, oil money and things like that. Norway, oil money also. Switzerland, one of the richest country in the world. Brunei, oil money. Guyana, some South African country. To be frank, this is the first time I heard of this country. And United States, right? United States is far below us, right? And most of the Ang Moh countries are really, really far away from us. So we really ought to feel very proud of ourselves. Just to make it clear, and I don't want to dwell too much on this because this is not the crux of the matter, but this GDP per capita number, which is basically gross domestic product, which measures the total income of the whole country within the geographical boundary of Singapore, divided by the total resident population, has been already adjusted for price level differential across the country. So this already accounted for things that are more expensive in Singapore, cheaper in the rest of the country, or adjusted for already. So this is not the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is that why are we so far away from the $153,000 measuring against our salary? Well, let's first explain why are we the richest, right? First of all, we really have an incredible government. That's the crux of it. We really have an incredible government that built this country across the generations. And if you haven't watched the Albatross Files, on all the videos when released, I think there were interviews given by Janadas and interviews with other people as well on this topic, and plus Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong relating some of the history. I thought that change of event was quite important. Yesterday, I shot a video You should watch it as well. But this basically, was the start, and all the way till now, we really have an amazing government. We have an amazing location. Okay, amazing location. Our population are very well educated. We're done well pro-business wise, and we are a financial hub, and we seem to do all the right thing in terms of all the industries and things like that. So now all these are a macro level strength. It doesn't reflect necessarily your household income, but this is a macro level strength. Now, if Singapore is so rich, then everybody have disconnect. Why don't my salary feel like $156,000? Well, that's because GDP per capita is not salary per capita. A lot of people tend to associate GDP per capita should be somewhere near our salary per capita. Well, per capita means per person, and GDP has a lot more component into it, and that's where I think it's important for me to explain to you. GDP per capita has a couple of calculations. It takes the total economic output, which is a GDP, divided by the total resident population. And that is not just Singaporeans, okay, but basically everybody in Singapore. Now, there are a couple of ways to measure GDP. One is the commonly known as the consumption approach, which measures C plus I plus G plus X minus M. That we learn in A-level economics. Forget, never mind, this is not relevant. Another approach, which is not so common, is called the income approach, which is what I'm going to tell everybody. It basically takes account of all the income of the country. Now, this chart I thought was quite interesting. It basically simplified by saying that your GDP of the country is equals to the total business profits plus all the taxes minus subsidy plus depreciation and all the statistical discrepancy, which is not so important. So it measures all the income of every individual plus corporate plus government, less what they spend and things like that, and so on. So this is quite a good representation. So basically in Singapore, wages only account for roughly about half the GDP. So the rest flow into big companies, small companies, government, capital owners, and so on. So salaries only account for a portion of it. And that's why you don't feel that this GDP per capita is anywhere close to your income. And that is true. So the average salary of Singaporeans is about 5,775. In fact, it went up by 5%. And that's, by the way, it's already very high. This is called a medium salary. And if you sum it up to a full year, okay, it's roughly about $70,000. Now, if you measure that against the 150 something thousand dollars, it's a far cry. So that's largely because there's a lot of businesses in Singapore making big money, and that also include our government as well. And all these sum up together will give a big number, okay? And our salaries only account for a portion of the GDP. Now, Singaporeans don't feel so rich, even if I take away some of these measures in terms of profits of companies and things like that. But largely because what goes in your pocket is even lesser. You have CPF deduction. And don't you dare say that your CPF is not your money. Your CPF is your money. In fact, it's a huge chunk of your money. And you have to pay housing, you have to pay family obligations, the children, whatsoever, and cost of living, whatsoever. So all these make you feel a lot less rich. But the truth is, you are a lot better than many countries in the world. In fact, you're probably the best or one of the best. Now, does the rich distort the whole picture? Of course, right? Of course. So imagine we have a Eduardo Severin, which is a Facebook co-founder in Singapore, plus, I can't remember who are the rich people at the Hai Di Lao. The Hai Di Lao founder is also a Singaporean right now. I think he's also considered a resident here and things like that. If all these people just come in, then they'll skew the graph upwards, right? But that, I don't think, is the main distortion. The main distortion is on the fact that GDP measures so much more than your salary, okay? So profits and other things account for quite a lot of the GDP, which is not measured in your salary. So if you take a step back and be a bit more mature, okay, I think we got to really appreciate that we are living in one of the best cities in the world. Okay, it is one of the most productive economies in the world. The salaries are really very high. In fact, business owners will tell you that the salaries are so high that they cannot tahan, right? But that's not the topic for today. Let's park that to another day. And we are attracting so much talent that want to come to Singapore that we now have to push them back and things like that. So our Sing dollar is powerful. So it is a macroeconomic success that we have, but it shouldn't be translated into a personal KPI, okay, directly. So it is a wrong question to ask. Why am I not making US $156,000 a year? You can challenge yourself to reach that number, and that's certainly something anybody could work towards. Doesn't mean that you hit it. But I think the right question that we should always ask ourselves and challenge ourselves for it is, how do I leverage on Singapore's strong macroeconomic engine that is so powerful right now to grow our wealth? So instead of sulking in discomfort that we're so far away, I think we should ride on the system to see how to take advantage of it, right? So it's very clear to me and to many economists that Singapore is indeed in our golden age right now. All countries have rise and fall. Some countries will rise and fall a few times, but certainly Singapore is in the golden age. We better ride this wave right now because no golden age lasts forever. Okay, countries go up and countries go down. Empires go up and empires go down. And you are very fortunate that you're riding on this golden age. What we should do now is quickly take advantage of this golden age, upskill ourselves, okay, take advantage of it, build multiple streams of income. I've been teaching everybody how to do it. Please go and build multiple streams of income. Take advantage of a CPF, your SRS, CPF Live, whatsoever. All these are extremely important. I spend a lot of time in December right now teaching everybody how to achieve that, and I think it's very important for us to do that. Invest in the growth of our country, and also right on the wealth that created, and invest in the right places. I think all this will help you ride and push you up together with Singapore prosperity. So taking a step back, in a nutshell, Singapore being ranked the richest country in the world is really a national achievement. While it does not mean a salary achievement for yourself, it does mean that our country has done really well globally as we benchmark against the rest of the world. Our job right now is, of course, to take comfort that we are really sitting on a gold mine. Our job right now is to quickly take advantage of this gold mine, this golden age of Singapore, and extract the best value out of it through skill development, through right investment, diversification, and so on. So this is my encouragement to everybody. So for those people who can see this in the right light, let's take comfort that we are really very fortunate to be in the richest country in the world. And for the rest of people who feel that you're not anywhere in the forefront of this achievement, well, quickly take advantage of it by upskilling ourselves and work smarter and harder. Okay, hope that all of us we feel we can continue to outdo ourselves in the following year. Thank you, and I'll see you in my later video.